easy to manipulate our asses into fighting each other.
Because we've not healed our relationship to the system. We still believe this system
The
is
system
salvageable.
outside of us or the one within us?
Both, because it's inextricable. The system is the tangible allocation of resources and the consciousness that is social that we are socialized under within it. Right? Capitalism is about determining this group gets this group gets that, you do this work and your worth is determined by how much you can output and contribute to the advancement of the system. And so by extension, we are taught to believe that my worth is in what I do, and if I'm not doing as much or more than the other person, then I'm not as worthy, and so then we start to compete. We start to have this false competition.
How do these divisions affect mental health and self-perception of people within the diaspora?
It perpetuates a false sense of isolation and a false sense of separateness,
Ooh.
right? And I will say there is a conversation to be had about the African diaspora, but I think this piece also speaks to the human diaspora, right? And the fact that yes, we Black people are the literal lifeblood of this world. And
Mm.
also, we are not the only people in this world who have things to offer it. And we have the ability to make synergy with all peoples on the planet. So,
Yeah.
but the ways that we, again, this psychic violence has beat into us the idea that no one is here, that no one is available to us, and that we are on our own to save ourselves. And while it is true that no one can really save us from an individual sense, the
Yeah.
reality is that collectively we can all save ourselves and be together, right? Like we save ourselves in community. We save ourselves in relationship with each other. And
That sounds like
so
accountability.
it sounds like accountability. It also sounds like, because I mean it, it also sounds like deep work. It sounds
Right. So then what are the strategies that individuals and communities can use to heal from this, from the emotional scars, from the
Yeah.
psychological
Yeah.
violence?
Actually, now that you've said it and I said it again and then I'm sitting with it, that accountability piece is key, but it starts with self-accountability.
Mm.
Like, cause I do believe in what I've heard and what I've said too about this idea that nobody's coming to save us, but I think it matters within the context of one's own personal trauma and
Mm.
one's own personal traumatic experiences of things. We all owe it to the world to recognize and to begin to unpack what these systems and schemas have done to us, and to really start to think, how has this fed me? How have I internalized the lie that I am separate from other people on this planet, that I am not responsible to show up as a global citizen, and to show up from a healed space?
Ooh.
What are the pains that I'm sitting with that I have been led to believe are other people's responsibilities to fix when they're mine? What are the pieces that I need to grieve
Yeah.
so that I can move through them and be able to show up, recognizing that, yeah, they don't have solutions, but I could still go on because I know that my pain is not the only pain that exists in the world, right? We know James Baldwin said something about that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it starts there. And honestly, I'm like, we solve a good 60% of the problem if we could just do that. Because that changes how we show up in conversation. We're not
Yeah.
showing up from this defensive, well, this is me and you need to deal because I'm this, that, and the third. It's, this is me. This is what I have to offer.
Had a conversation earlier with
Mhm.
Steve Von Lewis about
Okay.
accountability,
Mhm.
and this sounds like, come take a look out my window so I can show you my perspective.
Yeah.
And if you are amenable to it, allow me to take a peek out of your window so
Yeah.
that I can understand your perspective. It sounds like it has to be a dialogue
Yeah.
and exchange, and not a one-upmanship that moves us into believing that one experience should be prized over
Yeah.
or even seen as being contrary to someone else's, because what it sounds like you're saying is that in a lot of ways we are one band, one sound, and we know who the problem is, but
Yes.
we are fighting the wrong
We
people.
know what the problem is. Well, and again, I think it's important to call a thing a thing. When you recognize that we are trying to one up each other over a carcass, then you recognize it's not worth fighting for.
So then,
We're like we're
so I'm gonna ask you a
vocally.
question that's slightly disrespectful, and I want you to know that I know that. So
Yeah.
then why is it so easy to manipulate our asses into fighting each other?
Because we've not healed our relationship to the system. We still believe this
The
system is
system
salvageable.
outside of us or the one within us?
Both, because it's inextricable. The system is the tangible allocation of resources and the consciousness that is social that we are socialized under within it. Right? Capitalism is about determining this group gets this group gets that, you do this work and your worth is determined by how much you can output and contribute to the advancement of the system. And so by extension, we are taught to believe that my worth is in what I do, and if I'm not doing as much or more than the other person, then I'm not as worthy, and so then we start to compete. We start to have this false competition. And so if we're not healing that, if we are not recognizing that food, shelter, education, these are rights. These are not things you should earn because you're busting your ass. Like these are things you should have as a human being. Then we can stop saying, "Well, I need to like prove that I am, what like, to who? To them? You want to be worthy to them? Why? They're not worthy to us. Why?"
No, when you
And
say it like that, when you
especially
it completely, it turns the conversation on its head, right? Because you said to the system, and in honor of calling a thing, then the system is really that which benefits already rich white men who continue to want more than their fair share.
right.
So we are
That's
trying
what we
to
were
prove to
created.
those already rich white men that we are of value to them by way of our labor, and we're stepping on each other to do it. You make it sound wild because this shit is wild.
Well, it's true. And and here's the other kicker. We do it not accepting the fact that there is nothing that we could ever do to ever be worthy to them. We are not worthy to them. We
We
will
will
never
never.
be worthy enough to be anything other than employees.
Who
There is
should
not any money that we could ever earn for them to be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you my homie now." Which
you
is
are
why
only
which
as
is why
useful.
it hurts even more when we see our cultural leaders, I'll just say cultural leaders, our cultural influencers go and have community with them. Because it's like there's no like there's nothing you can do for them to see you with worth. They would never see you with worth. They will never see you no matter how much money you have because it
And
is
no
not
matter
about
how
you.
much
They are
money they pay
narcissists.
you.
They are narcissists. They don't even see each other, quite honestly. You think
Which means that seeing you is a complete impossibility.
how? Correct. I was like, "You really think that Tesla man gives a shit about the orange? He don't. He don't care about him
They are both
either."
using each other
They're using each other,
toward
and he's not
whatever
even
end.
using him. He's using him so he can get rich. Orange using him so he can deal with his own insecurities, and here you are tap dancing for what?
Good God. Because when you say it like that, right? So here you are, we are fighting each other. We
Yeah.
are dismissing each other's experiences in
Yes.
order to prove ourselves worthy clowns
Mhm.
in the circus that is the white supremacist delusion, which
Yes.
only benefits a small number of very rich white men who simply want more and more and more than their fair share. And
Literally.
quite frankly, I think of this as hoarding.
It is hoarding.
And beyond the hoarding, I'm like, these are people who are trying to prove their worth by having billions.
Yes.
So you're also trying to prove yourself to people who already have low self-esteem.
Yes. Yes.
So basically what I'm hearing is that no matter how much they pay you, they will never see you as being equal or
Yeah.
worthy as they are.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like Snoop Dogg and Company, who decided that they was
I
going.
wasn't gonna name them, but
I, I'll say the name. I'll say the name. Um, who decided that they were going to tap dance that way, which is
yeah.
also hilarious because while Snoop is saying that we are being disrespectful and talking like, why would y'all bring up what like almost like a why would y'all bring that up? It's like we didn't. Elon did.
Okay.
He basically said that your integrity was purchasable. And while they may have wanted to make the purchase, he never saw you as worthy or valuable or anything quite special. He just wanted to prove that you were
Yeah.
purchasable.
We've we've seen this time and time again. Well, and so let me also break down. So I also don't want to be flippant and answer your question because I also think there are real reasons how we're able to keep this going even at our level. Because the truth of the matter is we're all tap dancing. Anytime
Yeah,
if you got a job, you
some
tap
type of
dancing.
that.
Right? If you are
I do
scraping
like
Bitcoin, we're tap dancing. Why are we tap dancing? Because they've also controlled the narrative about the resources and what we have access to and what we don't. They've created and manufactured such a false sense of scarcity that we have bought into that we then perpetuate by saying, I have to compete with you because there's not enough of whatever.
which means I also have to devalue you in the
Yes,
competition
I
so that
have
I
to
can
do that
prove myself more valuable than you to
because I
those
don't
who hold the
believe.
purse strings, which
Yes.
is part of the reason why the Afro Caribbean fights with the Afro American,
Yeah.
fights with the fights with the immigrant
Yeah.
African.
And the
There's
middle
fights on
class.
fights on fights because we
Right.
are still competing for what
Yeah.
essentially boils down to white attention.
Yeah. And we're also and again, I do think there's also the resource discussion that we're gonna need to have, which makes it so that the middle class folks also fight with the Negroes that they think, well, if you would just go to school and get the things and do the right things, you could be where I'm at. When it's like, no, everybody can't be you because you wouldn't be you if we could all be you. We couldn't all be Oprah because literally Oprah's able to be who Oprah is because she's amassed the attraction of all the people with the resources. If we all there's not enough people to give us all the resources so we could all be Oprah, right? And also, Oprah wouldn't be exceptional if we could all be Oprah, right? So, like,
And we need the
we
exceptional
need
so
the
that we can see
exceptionalism.
so that we buy into the hope of the possibility of the thing that we will actually
Right.
end up
Like, you
achieving.
can't be like, "Oh, you could just be a rapper, or you could just be this, or you could just be a basketball" we can't all do that. Like, you
And
wouldn't be
hell,
able
some
to
of the
do
best
anything.
basketball players I've seen are right here. I'm like, I've seen them playing.
Yeah.
I'm looking like they look better than the NBA, but they
Right.
will never make it there.
Right. But the whole point of me bringing that up is when we're focused on that, we're not focused on the fact that there's one family that owns the bulk of the water in California, like literally owns it. The owners of
How you own water?
the wonderful company. So they make the pomegranate juice, they make Fiji water, or they don't make anything because it's just water, but they're the ones who manufacture it. They're the ones who get it to us. Um, one of the reasons they talked about water shortages in California, it was like, yeah, because they've privatized all the water. And it's like
Trying to
water's
figure out
supposed
how
to
you
be
could
free.
privatize some shit your ass can't make.
Right. Water is supposed to be free. What you mean you own the water? How you owning stuff like you owning farm like this is from the earth. How you owning anything? But see, the thing is, when they own that, they perpetuate the idea that there is not enough when the fact is there is enough if you let it go. And so for me, I that's another reason I stay out of I don't want to talk to y'all about talk to me about something that we're going to do to actually address the dynamics that are causing the issues. Cuz
Oof.
I don't have enough in me to continue to give my energy to discussions that are useless.
Ain't that
Give me the space to talk about the discussions that we need to have. Like, are we all paying our taxes this year? Are we gonna do it for the next 4 years? Because we already see what they're doing with the tax money. Are are we gonna redistribute? We already see again what Target is doing and what all these places are doing in the D. I don't have enough in me to continue to get outraged about shit that I already know stinks. When are we going to have the discussion about how we do things differently? Like,
so
really? And I say this as somebody it's since we naming names, I say this as somebody who loves Tabitha Brown. I love Tabitha Brown. I love I have gone broke supporting Black businesses, all of them.
I
Like
mean, my money
like
be looking real funny because I be
right?
trying to wear as much black as like this shirt. Like,
Listen.
black is plenty, and I'm looking like, there is no world where you will catch me paying $30 for a fucking T-shirt
Yes,
unless some black person, somebody somewhere is
correct.
selling it, in which case I've got 40 on it.
Correct. But
Like,
we have to be honest about, like, even our business practices. If your business, if you know you're a main part of, even if it's unspoken, a main part of your business model is fictive kinship, the idea of you buy me from me because I'm Black owned, at some point you're gonna need to deal with the fact that you are relying on resources that don't actually exist. Or you're relying on resources from an extractive place, because that's what business is here. It is, I am coming to take your resources to go and do a thing, regardless of what you have, and I'm not concerned about your economic welfare. So if we're dealing with the fact that most, not all, because I know there's always some Black folks who say, well, stop perpetuating the lie that Black people are poor. I ain't saying we all poor, but I'm saying a good number of us are poor.
and a good number of us are one sickness away from poor.
Okay? One paycheck away from poor. And if we ain't poor, most of us got debt, because we're also the most Black women, right? We're the most educated. We ain't all get scholarships. Most of
I
us
know that I'm
graduate.
sitting on 6 figures of debt.
Okay? Same, right? And so, like, if you are not, as a business owner, willing to rethink how you extract resources from this community that you have literally built your business on, then don't talk to me about, oh, we just need more Black business owners, and we need, with what resources, and who's gonna fund those?
Word.
And that's before you even get into the fact that most of these businesses are not in essential, like, what Black utility company is there? What Black,
There's nothing that you can buy that will not have white hands also
right?
getting something from it.
And
That's what I'm
if it
hearing you
is
say.
just all Black owned, there's very few things that I can buy that are actual necessities. So, when my rent is 90 or 60% of my income, and you want me to support your Black business with something that you cannot guarantee will do anything else but make me look good, you can't be mad at me if I'm like, "I'm not giving you my money. I'm not supporting you anymore." That's not about,
Mm.
kinship and community, and that's not the, no. That's
Like,
not
what
what
is that
that.
actually about becomes the question. So,
Correct.
question for you. What would
Yeah.
it take for us to create a sense of collective identity, of
Mm,
solidarity among African Americans, Afro Caribbeans, and Africans?
that's a good question. Imma tell you something that, mm, may be uncomfortable for folks. I don't think that's the answer.
Oh, so
Yeah.
then what is the question that we're not asking that will get us to the answer that we're seeking?
My whole thing, like I've said, I'm about healing,
Uh-huh.
and I am beginning to understand that anything that keeps us from seeing ourselves as inextricably linked to other human beings is what's keeping us down. And I think there was a time where it was valuable to have our cultural identities and to rest in them, like tribalism. There
Yeah.
was a time when that worked, and I don't see that time as working anymore.
Yeah.
Particularly when we have individual folks who are not invested in any tribe. Like, they're talking a good game, but they're very clear. They'll take the poor whites out too. I think it behooves us as human beings to say, what do we want more than anything? And I think the answer to that is survival and wholeness and community. And so I think that requires us to do the work of
Mhm.
unpacking what is keeping us from seeing our worth as inextricably bound to the other. I had a moment, um at our fellow institution. We're not gonna talk about them. But I was asking a question because a Black woman had written this book about Black women as like post-emancipation. They were becoming convict leasing, right? Like the whole kind of,
Yeah.
basically the 13th, and how we move from slavery to the mass,
Prison system.
right, the prison system. And I asked the question because she was focusing on how Black women ended up caught up in that system.
Mm.
And I was asking the question, is there anything that could possibly suggest, looking at our current landscape, that race may no longer be the sole issue in how that's carried out, or something along that lines?
Yeah.
And she doubled down. Everybody and people were, like, kind of upset with me for asking that question. Like, "No, it's only Black people. It was all racism. It was" now, mind you, you know me. You know I ain't got no problem calling a thing when it comes to race and talking about racism, talking about anti-Blackness.
Word. And I was about to say, that's not where this started. This
Okay?
started on money.
Okay? And and part of the issue I believe with white folks that we're going to start to continue to see over the next few years is that part of the reason why we can't address the issues affecting Black folks is because they still believe that it would never happen to them. They still believe the lie that, like, oh, Black people have had such a hard time, and they're going to be so hurt, and it's like, no, you ignore anti-Blackness to your peril, not just ours.
And I've been telling people this shit feels too much like The Color Purple. Till you do right by me, everything you touch is gonna fail
Period.
because you will
Period.
become the new nigga.
Period. Period. And that's why I've had to work through my own spite because I'm like, don't talk to me about how angry you are about these elections. Because again, not a single thing that is about to happen isn't already happening in Black and Native communities.
It's
Period.
just now it will be coming to your door,
Just
and
now it's coming
now
to your
you
door.
want us to treat your urgency as our emergency,
Yes.
like
And
we
when
haven't
it
already been dealing. Good
right.
God, we done run out of time. What do you desire for people to leave this conversation with? Like specific steps, some.
Yes. Imma pull from one of my favorite speakers, Dr. Donna, who says, "Pause, take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out, and take a beat, because 'cause we've talked about a lot. We've gotten very passionate, and it can be very easy to get anxious about all of this. What does it mean? What I hope people take away is that you have a light bulb now, and you have an opportunity to determine what you will do with this.
Mm,
It's not a matter that you can probably overnight be like, "I'm gonna completely do this and completely do that and yada, yada, yada." But if anything, just starting to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself, "What has this system done to me? What has it done to my psyche?" If you can even just start there and then start to be with what comes up so you can process that energy,
yeah.
either with yourself with a journal and all of that, or getting a professional, sitting down and being like, "I need space to unpack this." Then from there, perhaps we can figure out the next steps.
Mm.
But just that could be so transformative for so many of us if we were just willing to do it. So that I hope people take that away. Just that willingness to face it, to face what we are under. Um, yeah, that would be my only hope. My one hope.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Yeah.
Can you tell the people what's next for you, where people can engage with your work?
Yeah. So all my work these days is in emotional intelligence. I'm doing emotional intelligence coaching. So folks can find me
Oh,
at
the very thing that
emotion.
you said that they need. Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. So folks can find me at emotionwithintention.com. Um, I'm not doing a lot of social media these days because I am trying as much as possible. So in 2023, I had an inspiration of insight, and it turned into an Instagram post that said DEI is dead,
Please.
promoting a new acronym of divestment, reparation, atonement, and healing.
Mm,
And I have since been trying to do that work myself. So divesting as best I can from the systems and schemas. So like not posting on social media because I want my followers to see me, recognizing the algorithm don't care. And I'm not going to try to beat it. Um, so I say that to say I don't do a lot of public things, but if folks wanna go to my website and find me there, I'm happy to chat, send me emails, I'm happy to chat, I'm happy to accept invitations.
Mhm.
Um Also, I am in the sex ed work, there's also my old sex ed work. I am transitioning some of that to a Patreon. Yes, the book. I have a book, Black and Sexy, that talks about racialized sexuality and my ideas around that. But I also had a podcast myself that I am slowly archiving to Patreon, so you can find me on Patreon at Dr. Tracie G. And so my podcast episodes will live there, and I'm hoping to hint, hint, do some new episodes with some guests, some new guests. So, you know, so that'll be there. So those are the
You
best
ain't
way.
said nothing but a word. I'm there.
Listen, going to the website and then coming to the Patreon. If you insist on finding me on social media, I'm there. Just know that it's not ain't
It's
nothing
not.
really.
Yeah,
It's the best way to get my insight is to find me on Emotion with Intention. Send me a message and we can chat from there.
I love it.
Well,
Thank you so much for
thank
coming.
you
Thank
for
you so much
having
for
me.
your insight, for your vulnerability,
Yeah.
for basically free labor. Because I feel like you was giving it to.
Well, no, I get the if I didn't get what I got from you, I wouldn't do this. So I'm grateful. I just to be able to have these conversations. I'm just really grateful for that. So thank you for having me for sure.
Thank you.
Mm.
And those of you who are watching, stay tuned. Y'all already know the unfiltered word is coming soon. Hang on. And you know what time it is. It's time for some unfiltered advice. This conversation with Tracie and the conversations that I've had with Dr. Tracie G have been so fulfilling. And then this conversation for me felt very meta, right? Like it's a conversation about how we are having the conversations, why we're having the conversations. Ultimately, what do we desire to gain from having these conversations? And in an unfiltered way, I don't think that y'all really care. I don't know that we are actually caring about learning from each other, connecting with each other, and finding a path forward as much as some of y'all, like quiet as this cat, are interested in having vitriolic based conversations so that you can increase your followership. I think that you wanna make money, I don't think that you wanna have a real ass conversation. I think that you wanna make money, I don't think that you actually are interested in learning and growing. I think you wanna make money, I think some of you wanna make points, I think that some of you wanna feel smart, I think that there's all of this stuff because you are uninterested in any fucking connection. That is what I think that is happening, and that shit makes me sad. So, what's the advice in here? The advice is I'm taking it back to the conversation that was already happening with Stevon. You need to take some accountability for the fact that part of the reason why the conversations feel circuitous is because of you. Part of the reason that the conversations don't feel like they move forward is because you're not looking to move forward. You're looking to fight. You're looking to place blame. You're looking to have somebody pat you on the head and tell you how great you are while diminishing themselves in order for that conversation to be done. That is what you're looking for, and it's okay for you to say that. It's okay for you to recognize that. I don't blame you for that. I certainly don't. There's nothing wrong with you, right? There's no reason for you to feel shame, but there is reason for us to look at what we're doing and take accountability for the way that we are participating. I think that there is something better for us in the beyond, but it is also going to take work for us to do. So, part of this unfiltered advice is also like a baby history lesson, which is to say, Black American history did not start with enslavement. You must go back further because Black American history is diasporic history, it is African diaspora history. Go back further. Because I have a question for you, and it's the same one I asked Dr. Tracie G, which is at what point does the African's progeny become Black American? Because some of you are going to be sitting in your Black Americanness while telling others who got here more recently. that they are less Black than you are. And I need us to check ourselves. I need us to also consider who benefits from this. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to kumbaya because I don't know that the kumbaya is possible in that way, but there is a space where camaraderie and respect can live, but only if that is what we're seeking. So my unfiltered advice to you is to go on and sit in some questions. Dr. Tracie, she asked some things, she gave some things to think about. And what I would love for you to do is sit in those things. And if you're ready to have a conversation, comment about those things. So until next time, I will see you on the next episode of Desire Dialogues with me, Dr. Donna.